Hello 100% Chelsea fans, my name is Jack Reeve, coming over from TalkNorwichCity today, and I'm going to be doing the player ratings of the Chelsea squad. The 100% Chelsea guys asked me to do the player ratings of your team, 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being absolutely woeful. They have done the same over on my channel based on the Norwich City player ratings, so head over there after this video if you want to check that out, see how harsh they've been. But I've taken your starting 11 from your last game against Stoke, where you lost 1-0. So in goal, Asmir Begovic. I really like Asmir Begovic. I think he's been a good keeper for you guys, made a lot of fantastic saves, but he's not a world-class goalkeeper. He's a good goalkeeper. He's a good Premier League goalkeeper, but he's not one of the elite. For that reason, I'm going to give him an 8. I think he's been solid this season, but I don't think he deserves any more than that. Azpilicueta, I really like Azpilicueta. I think he's a fantastic player, probably one of the best defenders in the Premier League on his day. Unfortunately, he hasn't had his day very often this season, but I really like him. For that reason, I want to give him a 7. Kurt Zouma, probably one of the most promising defenders in world football at the moment, brought in with loads of potential and still has loads of potential. Definitely a future Chelsea centre-back for years and years to come. I think he's been decent this season. For that reason, I'm going to give him a 7. John Terry, probably past his best day, sadly. On his day, back in the day, probably the best centre-back in the world. Really, really class centre-back. And has really sort of prolonged that form for quite a while. But I think now he's on his final legs, which is a shame to see. And I'm going to give him a 7. Baba Rahman, going to give him a 6, mainly because I haven't seen enough of him to give him any higher than that, and I'm sure you guys want to be seeing more of Baba as well, but I just haven't seen enough of him really, so I'm going to give him a 6. Ramirez, I think he's a bit of a dirty player, to be honest. I'm worried that he might chop a few of our guys down, but at the end of the day, he gets the job done, and he gets the job done pretty damn well. I'm going to give him a 7. Matic in the middle. I really like Matic, but I think he's let you down at times this season with the sending-offs. I just think he is a fantastic player, but I always watch him and I always think, oh, something could go wrong here. I think that's been sort of the story of your season, really. You've got a fantastic squad, but just elements of it has gone wrong and you've had bad luck and everything like that, and it just sort of escalates. I like Matic. I don't think he's as good as he was last season. I don't think any of your players are as good as they were last season. I'll give him a 6 for that reason. Pedro, you know, he had a fantastic, I think it was his debut, wasn't it, where he scored a goal. But except for that, he has done nothing, really. And I think for that reason, I can't go above a 6, because you bring them kind of players in, you're wanting them players to make differences. You're wanting them players to get you out of sticky situations, and if they're not getting you out of sticky situations, you have to look and go, hang on a minute, you should be performing better. We've paid good money for you. We know you're a good player. Why are you not having these moments of brilliance to maybe get an equaliser, to maybe go on and get the winner, or to just change a game to get an assist? I haven't seen that from Pedro. I want to give him a 6. Willian, easily your player of the season. Really impressed with him. Somehow learned how to become one of the best free kick takers in the world. Am I right in saying he scored 5 this season, which is crazy? Willian, I think, is going to be a big threat against Norwich City, as he has been a big threat against all teams this season. But I think on his form, and he's a player who Norwich struggle against, you know, fairly quick, fairly skillful, but quite direct players and set pieces as well, because we're pretty clumsy. We're not the best defensive defensive wall, so we do give away a lot of set piece opportunities. If we give Willian 1, I think he might have to take it. Hazard, I think he's been awful this season. Yet last season, probably one of the players of the season. This Hazard sort of just epitomises your season, really. Similar description to Pedro. Hazard is the type of player like Willian who should be changing games, who should be scoring these winning goals, getting your team back in, leading by example. Hazard has gone completely under the radar this year, and that's really disappointing, because from your best players, the players who are on the biggest wages, not necessarily biggest wages, but just the best performers, should be pulling you out of this situation, and he's not. He hasn't done that at all. For that reason, I'm giving Hazard a 5, because I've been really let down with him. I'm talking like I'm a Chelsea fan. I've not been let down. I found it quite funny, personally. That's a bit harsh. But he hasn't been good, and if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be really devastated with that. So I'm going to give him a 5. Next up, Diego Costa, an absolute bull of a striker. I personally don't really mind his antics, because we had a player very similar to Costa who sometimes dived, who sometimes got in opposition's faces, goes by the name of Grant Holt. Scored a couple of goals against you as well back in the day. But I like the way Diego Costa goes about his work. If I was a Chelsea fan, I would love Costa. But if Costa dives for a penalty or gets in like Russell Martin's face, I'm going to be slaughtering him because he doesn't really go about the game in a fair way. But to win games, sometimes you need to do that. I haven't seen enough proper football from Costa this season. I haven't seen enough goals from him to give him a really high rating. But in terms of a good footballer, Costa is that. He's a good finisher, and he is a player who is going to cause us a lot of threats going into this game at the weekend. But the same as Hazard, and the same as most of your players, he hasn't been performing well this season. And for that reason, I'm going to have to give him a 6. I know he's fantastic on his day, but I am going on recent form, and I haven't seen enough from him this season to give him a higher rating than that. So let me know what you guys think about them player ratings. Am I being too harsh? Am I being too fair? I don't know. Obviously, I don't watch Chelsea week in, week out, but I've watched a bit of you. I know how you play. I know the players to look out for. I know the players not to look out for. I think that's fairly fair. Anyway, thanks for having me on, guys. 100% Chelsea is a great channel, giving the fans a voice, as every club needs. If you want to see a Norwich perspective, if you want to see loads and loads of content going into this weekend's game and covering this weekend's game, please head over to my channel, Talk Norwich City, hit the subscribe button, that way you'll never miss out, and it's free. So, thanks ever so much for watching this player ratings, and I'll see you very soon.
What is going on, guys? Louis for 100% Chelsea here, and today we thought we would start a brand new series for you guys, which is Chelsea Top 5s. Now, if you don't agree with what we have to say, leave